Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Congratulations, Columbia. We planned this so you would come in a good mood. Of Staff Association, that's 123 people. We're getting close to that number, but since we don't have quorum is pending, we won't vote to approve the order of business. Of course, the order of business is also included in our statute, so they're the same order of business every year. So without any more preamble, because I know everybody has a lot of things to do, we'll move right on to the second point, with second topic, which is the consideration of the annual report of the staff committee, which as the outgoing president, I will deliver. We also will have this report is also online on our webpage. I was going to recognize him in my presentation, but I'd like to thank the Secretary General for coming. Where is he now? There he is, second row. Congratulations, Uruguay. Ambassador Body. Ambassador Perry, thank you also for coming, and all of the representatives from the permanent missions. We appreciate your attendance here at this meeting. So, this year, the OAS Staff Association celebrated its 90th anniversary. The 2017-2018 Staff Committee included Stephen Greiner, President, Luis Marcelo Acevedo, Vice President, Rebecca Omaña, Secretary, Pamela Izaguirre, Deputy Secretary, Adam Siegel, Treasurer, Magali Santos, Deputy Treasurer, Elena Cruz and Luis Villalobos served as members, and Rafael del Castillo and Clara Hoyo served as alternate members. Carlos Serrani served as the principal representative to the Retirement and Pension Committee, and Beatriz Ferro Santos as the alternate representative of the same committee. I thought you'd like that picture up there, Beatriz. The committee also appointed 22 staff members to serve as 22 staff to serve as members and alternates on 10 advisory committees to address issues related to insurance matters, disciplinary measures, performance evaluation, and parking, among others. Leslie Alvarez is the staff administrator, and Montserrat Magaña Ocaña, our intern. Both support the work of the staff committee, the joint committees, the nominating and teller committees. In other words, Leslie and in everything we did this year. The 2017 staff committee began its work on August 2nd, 2017, and met weekly, holding 34 formal and 5 informal meetings. Through its 55 staff news, 3 FYI information bulletins, and an informational session, the staff committee provided detailed information and elicited input on a wide range of issues, which are detailed in the written report available on our webpage. The staff committee also made a concerted effort to disseminate activities of the OAS General Secretariat through its Facebook page and Twitter account. During the last 12 months, the number of followers of the Staff Association Twitter account increased from 82 to 413. Facebook page increased from 200 to 454. The staff committee also opened an Instagram account at the beginning of the term and has 67 followers. Two important priorities at the 2017-2018 Staff Committee included the strengthening of the Office of the Ombudsman and the selection of a permanent Director of Human Resources. As detailed in this report, the Staff Committee provided its observations to the Secretary General and his Chief of Staff regarding these issues and worked constructively with the administration to address staff concerns. At the request of the Secretary General, the Staff Committee recommended a company to provide services required to identify a new Director of Department Services. The committee interviewed 5 companies and recommended DHR International. Recommendation and contracted the company, which collected applications for the Human Resources position. He would later hire this firm to recruit for the position of Ombudsman as well. The Vice President of the Staff Committee participated in the interview panels for both positions, and the President participated in the meetings of the Advisory Committee on Selection and Promotion. The appointments of the Director of Human Resources and Ombudsperson to be announced shortly. On June 17th, the Department of Human Resources informed staff of improper access to private and confidential information, and the staff offered 4 recommendations through Staff News number 6. The administration followed through on 2 of the recommendations, agreeing to conduct a secretariat-wide audit of safeguarding personal and confidential information through the Office of the Inspector General, and participating in an informational session organized by the Staff Committee on October 20th, 2017. Other issues included the efforts of the Department of Human Resources in addressing the backlog of pending regulatory competitions and reclassifications, the situation of the administrative tribunal policy of gender equality, diversity, and human rights in the General Secretariat of the OAS. The committee recognizes the efforts of the Inter-American Commission of Women and the Strategic Council for Organizational Development and Management by Results in conducting workshops for more than 500 people in the prevention of sexual harassment. As you probably know, the Staff Association acts as guarantor for educational loans for contributing members and their families from the Leo S. Rowe Fund. During the 2017-2018 term, the Staff Association guaranteed 27 educational loans totaling $184,291. Unfortunately, the 2017-2018 period was marred by a number of natural disasters and humanitarian crises in OAS member countries. In response, the OAS Staff Committee organized 5 separate fundraising drives to assist victims in Antigua and Barbuda, Mexico, Dominica, Venezuela, and Guatemala. The campaigns raised a total of $13,156, as well as in-kind contributions for both Dominica and Venezuela, demonstrating the generosity of OAS staff, consultants, and interns, and their commitment to the help of peoples of the Americas in their time of need. The Staff Committee would like to extend its gratitude to the OAS Federal Credit Union for its contributions totaling $4,000. The Staff Committee commemorated the 90th anniversary of the association at the annual Spring Barbecue and the Staff Portrait on May 11, 2018, with the Secretary General and the Assistant Secretary General in front of the OAS main building. The Staff Committee held a design contest for a logo to commemorate this important milestone, which was printed on a coffee mug and given as a gift for all contributing members. We held 2 drawings and organized a drive to post pictures of OAS staff to the Staff Association Facebook page. The 90th anniversary photo album has 312 pictures of OAS staff, past and present, at work at headquarters and in OAS member countries. As is customary, the committee also organized the annual holiday bazaar, the end-of-year holiday toast, and the children's Christmas party. Committee members supported, attended, and promoted other social activities of the OAS General Secretariat, including those of the OAS Soccer Tournament, the Art Group, and activities of the Art Museum of the Americas, the Columbus Memorial Library, the Inter-American Commission of Women, and the Health Unit. During the committee's 2017-2018 term, 16 new contributing members of the Staff Association were added, bringing the total to 276 contributing members. As of June 18th, there were 493 staff members, meaning that only 55.9% of the members pay for the activities and other benefits of the Staff Association. So if you're not a contributing member, please consider being one. The members of the 2017-2018 Staff Committee would like to thank their colleagues who volunteered to help with the social events, as well as those who have served on advisory committees. Without your help, nothing would be possible. So, thank you very much. That concludes annual report of the Staff Committee 2017-2018. Oh. Ambassador Luis, sorry I didn't recognize you from the floor. Thank you very much for attending. We appreciate your presence here. And Ambassador Mendez is here, Assistant Secretary General. Ambassador Mendez, welcome, and thank you very much for attending as well. So the order of business, Leslie, can you go back to the order of business, please? So the third topic on the order of business is the treasurer's report. Adam Segal is our treasurer, and he will deliver that report. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Steve, and good afternoon, everybody. Obviously a happy day with the Colombia win, unless you're Senegalese, but I don't think we have that issue here. I've had the honor of acting as treasurer this past period, and working with the committee and all of you. So the general fund of the association is principally composed by the voluntary contributions of staff members, the annual contribution of the general secretariat, and the net income from the Christmas bazaar, which takes place every year. Other income with which the association counts on, dividends obtained by long-term certificates and other relevant OAS Federal Credit Union accounts, contribution of personnel of the OAS or the staff from missions who acquire health insurance for their own staff under the G5 visa through the association, and lastly, income from the gift shop. As Steve mentioned, we currently have about 55.9% of the staff are contributing members. To date, that has accounted to about $77,916.43 for this term in voluntary contributions, which we thank all of the contributing members for the contributions. We also do invite those staff who haven't registered as contributing members yet to consider doing so, and to invite current contributing members to review and potentially update your contribution, as those are tied to your current grade and step, and sometimes we forget that those don't happen automatically. As of May 31st, the Staff Association has approximately $112,913 available across its various checkings and savings account. Thankfully, the Staff Association receives a generous contribution of $4,900 from the General Secretariat each year. And during the 2017-2018 period, the OAS gift shop sold $14,851 worth of received an income of $14,851, which is an increase of 21% from the last period. And currently, the gift shop account has about $45,480 in its coffers. At the OAS Bazaar, as Steve mentioned this year, we generated $1,275. And in terms of dividends, the Staff Association had a dividend of $418.25 on its various certificates accounts, which currently have a total of $202,570. Furthermore, the association had a minimal dividend on its checking and savings account, which I'm not going to mention. In total, the association ends this period with $316,758 in its various checking, savings, and certificates accounts, and $45,480 in the gift shop. In terms of expenditures, our main expenditure is personnel for the Staff Association and other operative costs those expenditures in terms of operations came up to $1,300. We also pay an annual fee to the Federation of International Civil Servants Association of $679. In terms of the social activities, the staff committee organized, promoted, and/or supported various activities such as the Christmas party, the holiday toast, the 90th anniversary, the spring barbecue, and to support the health unit and the OAS soccer tournament to the tune of $8,420. I would just like to note that for the Christmas party, the association invited all contributing and non-contributing members and CPRs this year with the idea that as this is a benefit that the association provides, non-contributing members and CPRs could attend for a $25 fee per family. This ensured that all who attended contributed to the costs, either via membership fees and/or the $25 fee per family. In terms of benefits for the staff, there were no disbursements for the loyalty benefits or the legal fund. The health insurance for service staff of G5. There were 8 insured under that. health insurance program. We continue to administer the subscriptions of the staff, or memberships of the staff, to various gyms, the Washington Sports Club and IDRA. As Steve mentioned, we covered $590, 2 subscriptions, 2 registration fees for people to participate in the Forum to Advance Women's Leadership in the International Development Sector. And lastly, as Steve mentioned, we raised $13,156.50 for various natural disasters and or humanitarian crises. And the last one, which is currently ongoing, Guatemala, currently has $1,550 raised, and it will end July 6th. So we invite all of you to contribute if you can to support our fellow countrymen and women in Guatemala. Lastly, I would just like to close by saying that the Staff Association is in a good financial situation, and we continue to be prudent with its spending. And I thank you all for trusting in my money management skills for the 2017-2018 period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam. Now we'll pass the floor to Carlos Orani, who is the representative of the Retirement and Pension Committee for the Staff Association. Carla.
Gracias, Steve. Buenos días a todos. Quisiera agradecer la presencia del secretario general adjunto, de las autoridades y también de los representantes permanentes ante la OEA. El día de hoy no vamos a poder hacer la presentación del informe anual del Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones, dado que nuestro secretario tesorero debe corroborar y revisar los datos financieros que normalmente publicamos y compartimos con ustedes en nuestros informes anuales, y dado que se encuentra con licencia por enfermedad, vamos a circular el informe sobre el Estado y el informe anual del representante principal ante el Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones. Sin embargo, si quisiéramos, en nombre propio y en el nombre de la señora Beatriz Santo, que es la representante suplente, quisiéramos recordarles que también el Fondo 90 años de servicio en el 2 de mayo de este año, brindando este servicio a los funcionarios de la Secretaría del ICA, de CATIE, de la Junta Interamericana de Defensa y de la Corte Interamericana de Derechos Humanos. En líneas generales, hasta que podamos publicar los datos específicos sobre el número de nuevos participantes en el Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones, quisiéramos aprovechar y reiterar, de hecho, el agradecimiento al secretario general por haber considerado la propuesta que presentó el Comité del Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones en el año 2017 para limitar el acceso al fondo 401, y eso seguramente redundó, como les digo, no tenemos en este momento los datos que podamos compartir con ustedes, pero sin ningún lugar a dudas redundó en un aumento en el número de participantes en el Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones. Por lo tanto, reiterar nuestro agradecimiento a considerar las propuestas del Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones. Les vamos a compartir más adelante, como decíamos, los estudios que vamos a hacer durante este semestre que va a comenzar entre julio y diciembre del 2017, y les vamos a comunicar también los datos que tenemos de los estudios que hemos realizado entre octubre del año 2017 y junio del 2018. Lo mismo con respecto al superávit del fondo, el número específico lo comunicaremos y lo compartiremos con todos ustedes una vez que tengamos los datos. Lo circularemos sobre todo, no solamente se va a publicar como es habitual en la página de la Asociación de Personal, sino que también van a recibir el informe todos los miembros contribuyentes por email como es habitual. Solo a modo de conclusión quisiéramos agradecer en realidad en particular a la señora Margarita Rivas, que es la presidenta a cargo del Comité del Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones, por todo el liderazgo y el esfuerzo y la guía que nos da con su experiencia. También al señor Charles Grover, que es el representante principal del secretario general ante el Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones, y al señor Héctor Arduz, que es el representante suplente. Y en particular quisiéramos agradecer a todo el personal del Fondo de Jubilaciones y Pensiones por el servicio y por el trabajo arduo que nos ofrecen día a día. Les agradecemos mucho su dedicación y esperamos que Daniel se pueda recuperar pronto y que nos acompañe en nuestra próxima reunión. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Carla. As Carla said, all of this information is also available on our website. As the pension and retirement plan will be forthcoming as well, and the annual report is going to be available as of today. So without any further ado, we'll move on to the next topic, which are the pending matters from the outgoing committee for the incoming committee. And this is also part of the annual report, the written annual report. It's the last section. So this committee made 7 suggestions for the incoming committee on pending matters. The first one was to review the follow-up and implementation of the Secretariat-wide audit of safeguarding personal and confidential information. That was a priority issue for us from day one. And we will, this staff committee urges the incoming one to continue following that important topic. The second topic is to work with the new ombudsman to implement its his or her annual work plan and to incorporate this office into the staff rules of the organization. As you know, there is not mention of the ombudsman, because it didn't exist, in a lot of the regulations of the OAS. So as it pertains to the flow of information and automatically receiving information that's needed for this office to do its job, mention needs to be made in these instruments. So that'll be another task of the staff committee next year. The third task is to work with the new Director of Human Resources to continue to make progress on the competitions for vacant posts and to expedite the process for issuing staff contracts with specific funds. So there's a plan of action Secretary General will be submitting to the CAP, and that the staff committee looks forward, Secretary General, to working closely with you in putting together that plan. I do want to take this opportunity to recognize Jose Luis Ramirez and his team for working so diligently on attacking that backlog of competitions. It is a lot of work, and we made some really good, you made some very good progress this year, and we want to recognize your hard work for that. The fourth topic is to continue monitoring the pending competitions and the follow-up on the completion by the end of 2019. We're very close to the statutory competitions being completed. Obviously, there are vacant posts or reclassifications and other competitions that will continue for the 2018-2019 term. 5 is to continue to monitor the form of the quota system and the ramifications of the 2018 budget and beyond. Ambassador Ruiz Diaz has done a very good job in leading this effort. We've been following proceedings, Ambassador. We applaud your leadership on this and your persistence, and we're confident that the countries will come to an agreement that will provide for the long-term health of our organization. And please know that we are behind you and in anything that you need in that regard. Number 6, continue monitoring pending decisions regarding the health benefits based on the recommendations made by the Joint Committee on Insurance Matter to the Secretary General. Our health fund, you will see in the annual report, ran an operational deficit this year for the first time. Since the year 2000, they have been cutting operational costs, so it has to do with the aging of this organization, something that actually I'll be bringing up in my speech for the incoming staff committee, but Secretary General, we've met with the Secretary General about some other recommendations, structural recommendations that can be made to this fund to attack that deficit. But this is something that's looming on the horizon, and if we don't do something, that these deficits will continue to repeat themselves. So it's a very important topic that we need to keep an eye on. And last but not least is a follow-up on the plan of action to streamline and simplify human resources process. This is the plan that I mentioned that the Secretary General will have to submit to the CAP in preparation for the deliberations of the 2019 program budget. And I think there are a lot of really good ideas from staff that can be channeled through staff committee to the Secretary General to enrich and make this plan an effective tool for the CAP and for the Organization of American States. So those are the seven. I'm sure that there are going to be lots of other issues and topics that we don't anticipate that we'll follow up on, as is always the case. But this concludes the pending matters. I don't know if there are any questions or pending sort of from the floor from my fellow members. If there's anything you want to add to pending matters, this is the time to do that. Nope. From the floor? Good. Everyone's satisfied. That's good. I like that. Order of business. Luis, can you put on order of business again? Come on. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to invite the nominating committee, the president of the nominating committee, Paul Spencer, to take the floor to give his report on the elections. No, if we should we leave?
Yeah.
Here, you can sit in my chair.
No. Yes, it's you.
Thank you very much, Steve, and Secretary General Amagbo, Assistant Secretary General Mendes, and all of the ambassadors and representatives. I realize that my report is what separates you from lunch, so I shall be very brief, but it will be remiss of me if I did not begin by thanking and expressing my appreciation to the other members of the nominating committee, which included Maria Florencia Fernandez, Paola Fernandez, Maria Fernanda Solana, Luz Maria Pina, Javier Montas, and Dylan Martinez. I could not have done the job. We all worked collaboratively. It was an excellent group, and I want to thank you all for it. I would also like to thank the volunteers, too many to mention, the members of the telecommittee, and everyone else who contributed to this process so that we were able to have a successful election last week, Thursday and Friday. I see other members of the telecommittee walking in and who did an outstanding job, and as you know, the results were known, I believe, by 7:30. A special thank you to the Director of Human Resources and his assistants for helping us in compiling the voters list, as well as to the Retirement and Pension Fund, to Daniel and Mathis. And we could not have done it without the tremendous support of Leslie Alvarez, the Executive Assistant at the Staff Association. Let me therefore now just formally present the results. There was only one candidate for the election, and I'm not necessarily following this order. There's a full report will be presented to the staff committee in due course, and I'm giving a very short version of this report. One candidate for election, Steve Greiner, who obtained 212 votes. There were 10 candidates for members of the staff committee, of which Teresa Bustamante secured 157 votes, Mariana Herrera 152 votes, Adam Siegel 149, Martin Huneke 147, Luis Villalobos 144, Lily Ching 129 votes, Marlene Glenn 120 votes, Juan Cruz Monticelli 113, Monica Rivera 93, and Yadira Sosa 83. For the Retirement and Pension Committee, Carlos Solani obtained 182 votes, and her alternate Beatrice Ferreira Santos 173 votes. I want to thank all those persons who submitted themselves as candidates, because it's not an easy job being on the staff committee, and I know that we had to go back quite often to many people to encourage them, and we were pleased that we were able to get at least 10 candidates so that we had a proper election. I just want to say a few things about voter participation. The total ballots cast were 266 of which 226 came from headquarters, 40 from the field, and 17 were absentee votes. There were 0 void and 1 blank. So essentially the voter participation rate, I believe, for the staff committee in total worked out to be about 72.08%, of which 86.9% came from headquarters. Likewise, for the Retirement and Pension Fund Committee, there were 219 ballots cast, of which 185 was at headquarters, 34 from the field, 16 absentee, 6 void, and 19 blanks. The percentage voting was about 59.11% in total. OAS entities was 60.33% and other entities 52.3%. This is the part I want to talk about briefly, and it's just a point which is going to be in the full report, which as part of the recommendations, and that is the volunteer participation. I want to make a plea to my male colleagues to please participate. When you look at even the staff committee, you see that, there are not too many males here. And the same thing happens with respect to the nominating committee as well as volunteers. We don't have a lot of volunteers coming from our male brothers in the organization. I will say that the female participation in total of all the committees, the nominating committee, and the polling stations and telecommittee was 74.4%, whereas the male participation was about 25%. With that, I will bring my very brief presentation to a close, and once again, congratulate all those successful candidates, and my thanks and appreciation to all the volunteers. Thank you.
So now we can invite the new members of the committee for 2018-2019 to the table. And thank you very much to our outgoing members. Appreciate your support. Teresa. So here I am again. Secretary General, Assistant Secretary General, Ambassador Ruiz Diaz, Ambassador Patti, members of the permanent missions of the Organization of American States, colleagues and friends. First of all, I would like to thank my peers for electing me once again President of the Staff Association. I continue to be honored and humbled by your support. I'd also like to welcome our newly elected committee members for 2018-2019. As you can see, some of whom could not be here today as they are on mission or out of the country. They are Teresa Bustamante, Martin Wenicky, Mariana Herrera, Lily Ching, Moline Glenn, Luis Villalobos, Adam Siegel, and Carlos Orani and Beatriz Ferro Santos, who will serve as representative and alternate on the Retirement and Pension Committee. Juan Cruz Monticelli and Monica Revilla will serve as alternates to the staff committee. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize the hard work of the outgoing committee, and particularly to our Vice President, Luis Marcelo Acevedo, who took over during the month that I was out of the office on medical leave. Thank you very much, Luis. Really appreciate it. So as we embark on the 91st year of the Staff Association, and my, time does fly, doesn't it? The OAS finds itself at an important crossroads. You could even say an existential one. As you probably know, the countries need to change the quota system so that no one member contributes more than 50% of total resources to the organization. I look at this situation as a glass half full. The countries are working in good faith, guided by the able leadership of Ambassador Elisa Ruiz Diaz of Paraguay. Those from the permanent mission with whom we have spoken recognize the vital role of staff, and they realize that another reduction in force would have devastating consequences. This is a rare opportunity where the countries can step back and consider the long-term financial health of the organization. They can review and reform an outdated quota system that could eventually provide more resources to an increasingly relevant organization of American states. As this debate continues, however, there are two important things to keep in mind, and as staff, we need to take every opportunity to reiterate these points to our friends in the Permanent Council. First, any budget approved by the member states must take into account cost of living and step increases. These constitute an important element of parity with the United Nations salary scale and are a legal obligation assumed by member states. Approving a budget without contemplating COLA does not mean no COLA. It could, however, mean more cuts in personnel, and it would be a perfect example of robbing Peter to pay Paul. When parity was violated in 1978, the General Secretariat had to defend 7 class action lawsuits, which involved paying out millions of dollars to staff for breach of contracts. Trust me, we do not want to go down that road again. The second point, the true cost of running the OAS General Secretariat is approximately $115 million, not $84 million, which is the current spending ceiling. We need about $35 million more than is currently being contemplated. This money includes to pay for the commitments of the General Assembly of Cancun, Mexico, for deferred maintenance, upgrades to our IT and our financial system, and staff contracts for CPRs, as well as normal operating costs for our organization. $115 million. That is an important number to keep in mind. That's what we need to operate effectively. CPRs. Let me talk about CPRs for a minute. Many of our colleagues with CPRs have worked here for years, some more than a decade. Every day they wake up, get out of bed, come to the office, and they work on a whole bunch of stuff, just like any staff member. Obviously, there's a moral imperative to provide these deserving individuals with health care, a pension, and a modicum of job security that is afforded to all staff members. But listen, there's also a practical one. We are an aging organization. The guy with the white beard here is telling you, we are an aging organization. For the first time since its creation in 2000, our medical health fund ran a deficit, despite a reduction in operational cost. We had almost $500,000 more in expenses than revenue last year, and this is due in part to demographics. The overall age of a Cigna participant in the United States is 32. The average age of the OAS participant in the Cigna Administrated Health Fund is 48. The financial well-being of our health care, our pension plan, indeed our organization, depends on attracting and retaining young people at the OAS. And providing staff contracts to those with CPRs would be an important step in doing just that. I am sure in the course of the year there will be other issues and events that will require our attention and response as staff. In the meantime, I would like to briefly discuss some of the pending issues suggested by the outgoing staff committee. With very little resources, the Department of Human Resources has made important progress in nearly completing the backlog of pending competitions, both statutory, those that are required to move from Series A to Series B, as well as those of vacant post and reclassification. The staff committee did its part to support the department, serving on interview panels and participating in the advisory committee for selection and promotion. But we need to give credit where credit is due. Jose Luis Ramirez and his team have done a good job in this regard, and we appreciate your hard work. In keeping with Judgment 165 of the Administrative Tribunal, the staff committee assisted Secretary General and his team in recruiting and appointing a new Director of Human Resources. We look forward to working with him or her to build on the accomplishments of last year. Likewise, the Office of Ombudsman has been a very important issue for the staff. This year, we will work closely with the newly appointed ombudsperson to implement the annual work plan and help that person win the trust and confidence of the people he or she will serve. We need to incorporate mention of this office in the staff rules of the organization so that it automatically receives the information to effectively do its job. We were all shocked by the news about this time last year that our personal and confidential information had been breached. But we were a little confused when the specifics about that information were not forthcoming. We appreciate that the Chief of Staff participated in the informative session in October and heartened that the Office of the Inspector General was conducting a Secretariat-wide audit on safeguarding personal and confidential information. We haven't received that report yet, but I've been assured that it is forthcoming, and this staff committee stands ready to work with the administration in monitoring the implementation of the measures to strengthen the privacy of this information, while at the same time offering staff and consultants ready access to information that pertains to them. Finally, in my speech last year, I made appeal to you to be more active in the Staff Association. I'd like to make that appeal again. First of all, I need to point out an uncomfortable fact. While everybody is a member of the Staff Association, I'm almost done. Only about half of us contribute to it financially. We will always defend and support staff, but we are more invested in this association if we support it with our hard-earned money. Also, we have 10 advisory committees that deal with important issues that need constant attention. We already mentioned the Joint Committee on Insurance Matters, but we also have committees on parking, staff incentive awards, performance evaluation, reconsideration, and discipline, just to name a few. You may feel like you do not possess the institutional knowledge to serve on these committees. That is not true. We always need fresh eyes and new blood to look at these challenges and offer solutions. We also have social events through the year, which serve to bring us together as colleagues and friends. These require a lot of preparation and cleanup, but even these tasks are not so onerous when they're for a good cause. You may feel like you do not have time to volunteer. Let me tell you, nobody feels like they have enough time in the day to accomplish everything, and that has never been more true in the OAS than right now. But for that very reason, we need to have an active and robust staff association. So, as the 2018-2019 Staff Committee begins its work to address the issues affecting us all, keep in mind the saying, no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. Thank you. So this concludes our staff assembly. Once again, we really appreciate the participation, the Secretary General, Assistant Secretary General, the ambassadors, members of the permanent mission, and of course, all of you. It looks like we're very close to making quorum, despite the World Cup, despite the cap, despite so much competition today, and we really, really appreciate it and look forward to working with each and every one of you in the coming months. Thank you very much, and with that, I will close the session. Thank you.